Welcome to episode 7 of the Future Gains podcast. Yes, this is the first time I've posted a podcast episode back to back days. Just so happened to be like that. I'm on a Red Bull late at night because I wanted to upload this. So you're welcome. Here we go. Today we're jumping into the grandbaby of them all. The granddaddy of them all is what I actually meant. NVDA earnings. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the good, which is most of the good. We're going to talk about the bad, which is mostly the reaction. Currently, just to give you a heads up, the stock closed at 131.28, up 3.67% today. And after hours, after 7, it is at 129.32. So it is down about 1.5%. It had some major jumps and declines in the after hours. So I hope you took my advice. You didn't watch it like I did, because I had a heart attack and then I was pumped and then I was bummed. So that's just how it goes. So first, we're going to go over all the highlights, the specifics of NVIDIA's earnings. I'm going to give you all like the surface level stuff and kind of talk about the important things so you don't have to go through the entire thing. Hopefully that's helpful for you. And then we'll talk about my opinion of it. We'll talk about the market reaction, some of the risk involved with NVIDIA, and overall what my opinion is about the stock after earnings. So here we go. Just to give you the specifics right off the bat, revenue was projected to be 38 billion for the quarter. It came in at 39.3, so a beat by a million, which is great and above expectations. Unfortunately, not above the unrealistic expectations that other people set besides analysts. I think they expected 40 or 41. So when you beat it just by a little bit, everyone's like, well, NVIDIA only beat it by a little bit. And EPS was 0.89, which was higher than 0.75, and it was up 82% year over year. And I forgot to mention revenue was actually up 78% year over year, which again is amazing, but it's lower than the last quarter year over year. So that's why, again, they've gotten used to this amazing news. So if it's good news, they're not as pumped. For the full year last year, NVIDIA recorded 130.5 billion, more than double the year before. And I remember the first quarter of last year, I got in around February, and when they did the earnings, they projected, I think it was like 25 billion or something, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, they're going to make 100 billion this year." And they made 130.5 billion. Guidance, Q1 expected revenue is 43 billion, which is also higher than they thought. I think they thought it was going to be 41, so 2 billion higher. Demand is still robust. So anybody that was worried about, maybe AI demand is going to wane after DeepSeek. Nope. Wedbush Securities, actually, analysts said 70% of enterprise customers plan to increase their budgets for AI hardware. And this is a big one that you're definitely going to want to know. NVIDIA chips are sold out for 2025, it seems. They didn't specifically mention this, but they've already mentioned that they're sold out for multiple quarters. He said demand is robust, so we're waiting to hear exactly how long they're sold out, but it seems like they're sold out for quite some time. The market reaction, if you were watching after hours, which I hope you weren't, I looked at it at one point, it was at 136, so it jumped up $6. I was like, oh my goodness, let's go. Must be great news. I look at it again, it's at like 124. And I was like, what in the world happened? I thought we were going down. Then it went back up. Then it went down. And then it went back up. And it went all the way up 34 and then went all the way down and closed at 129. So it was quite the ride. It was terrible. And the market seems to not have really reacted that much. And again, I said on my YouTube page, if you don't follow it, go follow it. Future Gains. I said on my YouTube page, do not do call options. And I hope you didn't, because just like every single time we have earnings with NVIDIA, it went nowhere that week, and you would lose all your money if you did call options for just this week. So I hope you did not. Now, of course, everything I talked about so far has been great, but we want to talk about the risk too. So the two things that kind of stood out to me are 46% of the revenue from NVIDIA is hyperscalers currently. I don't love that, because if they start making their own chips eventually, which I know they're working on, if they ever make any headway there, or if they ever figure out they can do it a cheaper way than with NVIDIA, that could be a major cut into NVIDIA's revenue. And then the gross margin is 71 instead of 72. So it's a little bit lower than they thought, because Blackwell cost a lot to make. So it used to be, 75, I think high 70s, which is basically for every $100 NVIDIA makes, they get to keep, here in this case, $71 of it, and the rest is cost of goods sold, so costs to make Blackwell. So they're saying that they're going to get back up to the mid 70s. So I know some people are watching that definitely something to keep an eye on. My opinion, personally, I love it. I'm pumped. This is the cheapest NVIDIA's been in forever. The stock has been stagnant for like 8 months now, even though they keep beating revenue and beating EPS every single quarter. They're literally 78% year over year. What other stock is doing 78% year over year consistently? And that's like the lowest they've done in a while. That's crazy. Even though right now their current revenue and EPS is the highest it's ever been. So Jensen said later on an interview that he believes every single company will eventually own or rent a data center. And I believe every single company is going to need AI if they want to keep up in some shape or form. They're going to need AI. So if that's true and every single company ends up having a data center, holy moly, that's going to, I mean, we're absolutely in the beginning phase. Absolutely. This is such an early thing. Also, Jensen said that the more computing power is going to be needed as reasoning and AI becomes more often. So when ChatGPT came out, you just ask it something and it would use one thing to be able to look up an answer and then it would give it back to you. Now there's reasoning. Now AI goes through multiple steps of training. Sometimes it trains other AI. There's a lot of layers. And he's saying every time there's a different layer, you need more computing power. And when you need more computing power, you're going to need more chips. So he's making the argument that it's going to be, he literally said 5, 10, 100 times fold what it is right now, which again, even if it was 5 times fold more than it is right now, that would be insane, especially probably for this year and next year. So overall, I am bummed that the market reacts the way it does. I wish it would go higher. At the same time, if we're thinking long term, which I know it's hard for me to do sometimes, I have to think, okay, yeah, let NVIDIA sit at 130 as long as it can, so I can just keep pouring as much money as I can into it over time. And then eventually I'll have so many shares when it does go to where it should be. I want to be a very rich man. So I'm fine with it doing what it is. I'm very confident. NVIDIA is, I didn't even mention that they're in cars, they're entering in robotics, like they're in so many different things. Jensen definitely seems to be focusing on innovation, focusing on, he knows that these data centers will last maybe for a pretty long time, but maybe not forever. So he's already diversifying. They have so much cash on hand. It's insane. It is mind-boggling how much cash they have on hand. So they have options on what they want to do with that. So overall, I don't know what the stock's going to do today. I guess you're listening to this. I have zero idea whether the stock's going to go up or down. I could not even guess. But I think if this is not a catalyst, the next possible catalyst will be middle of March, March 17th to the 21st. They have their GTC conference, which is basically NVIDIA's conference to showcase any new things, show off AI. I think it could have some big news that comes out of it, so that could be a catalyst as well. Other than that, I don't know anything else coming up. So if you do, leave a comment, let me know. Once again, if you appreciate this podcast, if you enjoy listening to it, if you think I'm even a little bit funny, please tell your friends. Please let them know if I feel like I'm helping you make some money, which I know it's pretty early on, so we're not going to know for a while, but I would greatly appreciate you leave 5 stars review, or if you tell a friend. Honestly, if you had to pick one, tell a friend about it, have them listen to it. I greatly appreciate it. Let me know if you're still all in on NVIDIA or if you're starting to have second thoughts. I would love to hear it. And I don't know necessarily what the next episode will be, but I guarantee it will be soon. So stick around. I appreciate you listening to the Future Gains podcast. See you guys next time. The information provided on Future Gains is for informational educational purposes only. I am not a licensed financial advisor, and this content should not be considered financial advice. Always do your own research and consult a qualified financial professional before making any investment decisions.